Hi, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson, the Executive Director for Transgender and Diverse Veterans of America Action Group, and our other one that's not an action group. Most of what we talk about on this talk show are, if I can get my hair to go in the right direction, oh my gosh, come on. Anyway, it just does its own thing. I have to put my other glasses on because they have the reflective capabilities on the front, apparently. A little bit better, anyway. All right, so what are we going to talk about today, Pinky? Well, we do have a certain group of Americans who actually think that they can go in and take over the whole of government and make it look like them. They are attacking and will seek to do the things that they say in this particular document that we like to talk about. It's called Project 2025. It's produced by the Heritage Foundation. Dr. Kevin Roberts wrote the foreword to it. And if I could ever get out of the foreword, maybe I could see what else is in the darn document. But anyway, so today it's Friday. It's the day before the weekend. It's a 3-day weekend for most of you out there if you're watching. And well, most everyone, it's a 3-day weekend. So Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day as well as Columbus Day. And so just wanted to make sure that we start the weekend off with a bang. How's that? So everyday ordinary Americans are under attack in this country today by other Americans. Everyday ordinary Americans like me and you and all of you out there watching, whomever you might be, however you identify, whomever you love, we're under attack in this very country that, as a veteran, I know we serve to actually defend that Constitution, that some of our American families and friends are saying that doesn't qualify. We don't qualify for protections under that thing. Oh my God, I am just still baffled by a statement like that. It's really just agonizingly stupid to say something like that. Come on. So today I wanted to do a couple of things. People have been saying, that we don't need to put a big spotlight on what everybody's saying in this category of here. But here's why it's so important that we do it. The last time they had a big project like this where they actually did something and got it accomplished was back when Reagan was president. They've tried every 4 years or so since then. But, the big success first was back in 1980 when Reagan took over. I've got a friend who tells me, put your hands down. And if you're watching, I'm trying to put my hands down. I'm going to squeeze them between my legs. Okay. So anyway, these are exciting times for us. Okay. So anyway, what was I talking about? I just saw my hands up there and I had to do something about it. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at a lot of these things. People have been telling me, why do you want to put a spotlight on all these things and all these people who are doing this and this document, Project 2025, and the Heritage Foundation, and Dr. Roberts, and Sebastian Gorka, and Stephen Miller, and a whole slew of other thinkers, parenthetic, they are American thinkers. I get it. I understand. I don't want to go down the road of doing something like that or saying something where they are Americans too. They're entitled to their views. However, they're not entitled to enforce their view of how I should live upon me because they just happen to disagree with it. No, no, you don't get to do that. But that's what they're trying to do. And if they take over, here's the thing, and I've said this on every show for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, probably longer. They are preparing. They are preparing. So let me just show you. Here's what I want to do. Today we're going to do a deep dive into Twitter. Are you ready? Well, X, formerly known as Twitter. We're going to go deep dive over there. We're going to go take a look at some things on Project 2025. Kevin Roberts' page, Sebastian Gorka's page, the Heritage Foundation page, and their action group called Heritage Action. We're going to go over there and just look at a few things and just see if we can make some comments and stir up the pot a little bit. But people are saying, why do you want to do that? Well, because in 1980, when they came out with the first one that they actually created, and Reagan took over the office of presidency, They were able to accomplish 60% of their document, of their mandate for leadership in 1980 without a big strategic plan, without having trained anyone else to go in and help the president accomplish their goals. I mean, this was just because the president happened to agree with the points that were in the document that Heritage produced back then. Heritage was able to get about 60% of their stuff accomplished in the first 100 days of the Reagan presidency. Now, this document, though, Project 2025, is unlike anything they have ever done. And I'll give them credit. I'll give them credit where it is due. They have really put a big effort into making sure that whenever, they've got the systems in place, the training academy is in place. They've got people starting to sign up for it. They started asking people to join with them in their programs and training programs over the summer, this past summer. And so here we are today. They have a program to walk in just as soon as that president, if that's a conservative president who takes the office in 2025, January 20th, 2025, as soon as that person says, "So help me God," well, Heritage Action, Roberts and all these people have got their people in place, trained, vetted, checked, pre-cleared for clearances and all kinds of stuff like this, ready to go and go into the whole of government. Now, why? Why is that a big deal? Well, first thing is their objective is to reduce the size of government and get rid of a lot of layers of bureaucracy and all stuff like that. The deep state stuff they talk about all the time. They want to go in and do that. That's the goal, but they're not going to do it right away. They have no intention of going in there and doing that right away. They're not going to walk in and say, that office is closed, that office is closed. Well, I mean, there are some offices they will. I'll just say that flat out. But they're not going to go in there and just clean house right away. What they want to do is they are going to go through every policy, every rule, and do a deep dive search into them to find any word that would say something like, I don't know, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender equity and equality, diversity, equity, inclusion, abortion, intersectionality, everything. And I laugh because it's just, it just pisses me off. And it should piss you off too. That you've got some Americans who think this other group of Americans isn't worthy of being recognized or seen or heard. They're going to go in and try to whitewash the whole of the federal enterprise, removing everything. That's what they're going to spend the most amount of time doing with all this whole bunch of bureaucrats they're going to put in there who have been trained and vetted. And, they've been told the conservative principles of governance by the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. And they have put their money where their mouth is when it comes to that one. They have all these 70 organizations all came together, and hundreds of people came together to do this and make this document, this consensus document. And so they're going to make sure that it gets implemented, but they have to remove certain things in the government to get started. They got to first thing is you're going to see the president, whoever that is, if they're conservative, they're going to go in and reinstitute this thing called Schedule F. And if you don't know what it is, basically it gives the leaders in those agencies and the president authority to fire people, regardless of how long they have been working in the federal government. In other words, it brings a lot of instability to the lives and families of these people who are counting up on those jobs within the federal government. True, there might be some jobs that may need to go away, but I'm going to tell you, most of the people in those organizations will tell you that their job is valuable, that their families are important. Oh my God. It's just crazy what we're seeing taking place out here right now with this. So let's go over and let me finish what I was saying, because I kind of jump around a bit on all this. The overall goal is just to point out the atrocities contained within Project 2025 and what they're promoting, and what they're getting the talking heads riled up now about it as well. They've been doing that since June, I guess, of this year, kind of pushing it out, and getting it out there, making sure it's heard and seen. getting their people in place to address it, establishing a narrative across multiple social media and media outlets. You know, here are the talking points for this week. Here are the talking points for next week. And they all do the same thing. And you can just watch it happen. Their strategy for all of that, I mean, they laid out a strategy. They've already got their plan in place. They're going this week or last week. They were talking about DE&I and education and academia. You know, so they've got a plan where they're actually talking about certain parts of this stuff en masse, so that everyone can hear about it for all the way up past election, okay, of 2024. They're going to roll this thing out and steamroll anyone who doesn't look like them, you know, who is not white, cisgendered, and straight. Yep. Don't believe it? Go read the foreword to that darn Project 2025. Just go read the foreword. It's really short. Well, 17 pages. You know, 17 pages is really short compared to the whole length of this document, which is 920 pages. Then you can read the foreword. And Dr. Roberts clearly tells you what he believes, what he wants to do, and how he's going to go about doing it. And why. Plain as day. Clearly telling you what they want to do across the whole of this nation. What they want to do to their fellow Americans who just don't happen to look like, seem like, think like them. Okay? I don't know who's calling, but I'll have to put them on hold for a second. So I've got an office number. It beeps, rings on my computer. So hopefully they're not. Hopefully, if you're listening out there and you made that phone call, just call back in a little bit after I get through with all this, please. This typically goes for an hour. So anyway, just some technical updates as well. I am thinking about and planning on doing now an evening show, an evening news talk show. Probably, I think at this point, the way I put it in the newsletter was 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's 5 p.m. my time here in Alabama. So we want to make sure that we get as many people or connect with as many people as possible to share the word about the harms and dangers and threats posed by Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, and to point out to them just how much money they're putting into this to make it come about. This is very well thought out, strategically planned and organized. They have got this thing down to a T, what they know what has to happen when, the timelines for certain things. The academy, their training academy has been rolled out. It's all there. It's all there. Talks about it in that 920 pages. Go check it out. And it's a real and present threat to all of us. Anyone who is different in this America. They want to whitewash everything about us. Now, look, there are organizations conducting research within the federal government right now on sexual orientation, gender identity, impact of their existence in their lives, and the impact of their socioeconomic status or the social determinants of health, those kind of things. It impacts these groups differently. But if Roberts gets this Project 2025 out in full force across the whole government, that research stops. The office goes away. There's a whole office in NIH, the National Institute for Health, about that topic. And it's important for the researchers and the scientists out there to understand that there are different social determinants of health that impact, or I should say the analysis of those things, the social determinants of health for this population, the sexual orientation, gender identity population. I mean, the outcomes are worse for a population like that only because of their identity, their sexual orientation, gender identity. And it's not those people who have those issues. It's the communities in which they live and reside and have to get care and work and raise families. That's the crux of the problem, is trying to get external people to deal with the fact that, hey, not every American looks like that and has this look like me. White-haired, picket fence in the South kind of thing. You know, privileged, yeah, absolutely. Educated, yeah, sure, absolutely. But I don't want the whole country to look like me or to believe like me. Do you? No. No, I just want people to be able to live freely, to live with the full protections and rights guaranteed in the Constitution. And Heritage and Roberts have been saying repeatedly that, if you're one of these people, you aren't protected by the Constitution. Well, he calls me an ideology, but I don't know about. I find that just asinine. I am not an ideology. I don't know what you think about that, but not me. Nope, 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 nope. I am not an ideology. I am an American and a veteran and a parent and a grandparent. And let me see what else. Serial entrepreneur. I've been in all kinds of businesses and industries over the years. All kinds, literally. So, I mean, come on. Just because I'm different or just because we're different, you want to make sure that nobody actually has an opportunity to acknowledge that fact or even to look into what the impact of those differences is having on their health and well-being and how they fit into this society. You don't even want to talk about those differences. Okay. Well, we're going to talk. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and share screen because we're going to go take on Twitter. You ready? You can go over there and find it too. You can go check it out as well. You can go check this out and actually take some time to go in and make some comments. But I'm going to go over there and share a screen and just see what we can stir up. How about that? Give me a second. Find out. This is that. And then that one is that. Hold on a minute. Share screen. I need to be right here. Present. Share screen. And we're going to go with Project 2025. Share. Now you're looking at the Twitter feed or the X feed. I don't know. I guess X is just called Twitter, right? Whatever the words, the X formerly known as Twitter, whatever. Okay, Elon. Project 2025. Oh my gosh. There is a Twitter page for it. And they joined in January of 2023. This site, this Twitter site was created in January of 2023. That's the first thing. And then just read the blurb here at the top. I don't know. I'm going to just blow it up a little bit so everybody can see what we're doing. Give me a second here. Da-da-da-da. I know reading on a screen can be difficult, especially if you're on your phone or a portable device of some kind. You're on your notebook or whatever you're on, and you're looking at this. It can be difficult. I know that. I understand it. But if you're on a computer, actually your desktop computer or something like that, or maybe a large portable computer. I'm looking for words. I can't think of all the words that I need to look for. Laptops. But anyway, so here it is. Assembling. And here's how they plan on doing. And they talk about this in the book, Project 2025, or the Mandate for Leadership. Don't go buy their darn book. We don't need to be giving them any more money because they got $22 million set aside just to implement Project 2025. And then Heritage has got, well, at the end of last year anyway, last year for them, on their Form 990 filings with the IRS, they had $265 million left over anyway. So don't go buy the darn book. You can go to Project 2025 website and actually download the PDF document for it. It's there. You can, don't do that. Don't go buy. All right. So look, now since January of 2023, they have gained 2,602 followers. I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. Because I want to know what they're talking about. I want to know what they're thinking and doing and how they're going about doing it. So you can see the people that are also that followed me and follow us, the transgender TDVA-AG over on, I think it is. Twitter for us. But anyway, so you can go over there, you can check it out. I follow these people because I want to know what they're saying and when they say it, because I want to be able to respond to it and let them know that, hey, look, this, what you're doing is not right. It's not right at all. All right, so this was posted on September 5th. They pinned this one, okay, to the top because they want everybody to see it. This was a pinned statement. There is nothing else like this. 2025 is quickly approaching, and we will be ready. Join us and be trained by some of the greatest, most experienced minds in the conservative movement. Sign up for the Presidential Administration Academy. Yeah, created by Project 2025. You know, they've got a plan. Where's ours? What are we doing? We're sitting back here looking at each other like, well, I don't have time for that, or that can offend me and hurt me in some way. And, you know, you're going to have to get over all these things, because if we don't take this thing on and they win, the conservative wins in November of 2024 and takes office in 2025, everything in Project 2025, the book, the PDF, they'll be able to accomplish in the first 100 days. They'll remove every reference to gender identity, sexual orientation, diversity, equity, inclusion, intersectionality, abortion, and anything else that they don't like. They'll remove it from every document, every piece of legislation, every rule and regulation. It will be removed. And any offices that are focused on these kind of projects, like the one in the National Institute of Health, their LGBT office, sexual orientation, gender identity, or SOGI as it's called there, they're going to remove it. Close it down. Now, that's just the National Institute of Health. Obviously, they're going to do the same thing across DOD, Department of Defense. Any office that is associated with diversity, equity, inclusion, whether it's gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, or healthcare related to any of those things, it will be shut down. Now, that's just DOD and NIH. Now we come to one of the biggest organizations in the country under the federal umbrella, and that would be the VA, Veterans Administration. All those offices right now sitting there in DC or different places around the country that recognize and understand minorities in the veteran population, you know, like the Center for Minority Veterans, Center for Minority Americans, I think, CMA, maybe something like that. But yeah, that office, you can consider it on the darn chopping block. And I've got friends in that office right now, and I hope you're watching. I hope you hear this. I hope you hear it clearly. They will shut those offices down. They will shut down any funding in any office that has to do with LGBT people in VA. My good friends over in the LGBT office, you can count on it. If you're watching right now, just know that if a conservative takes the White House, you'll be out of a job. They'll defund every money and declare you cannot spend it toward anything that has to do with sexual orientation or gender identity or abortion or anything else that has to do with recognizing a minority population. And forget about flying the pride flag anywhere. It will be stricken in law so that you can't do it. And look, they just say that they're going after organizations like that. They, you know, LGBT people, because, you know, they don't think of us as being real people. As Robert says in the foreword to Project 2025, they don't think of us as being natural people. He calls us. He did. He wrote that. Dr. Roberts wrote that thing, declaring us to be unreal, unnatural, undeserving of protections of the First Amendment. It's there. It's in the foreword. He said it. And if you agree with that, you're full of shit. If you don't see how pissed that makes me, I don't know. But we have got to stop letting these people just run through the whole of our federal government and any state level government. We've got to stand up in a united voice and fight against this stuff. Otherwise, we will be as Dr. Roberts says in the foreword. Words he used, not me. I didn't come up with these words, directly out of that foreword that he wrote. Erased, deleted, excised from everything across the whole of the federal government. And they want it to go to the states too. And they'll try to pass laws that will, if they can control the House and the Senate and the presidency, they will pass laws that ban these things across the whole of the nation. Talk about your pride parades and your pride events taking place around the country. It won't be a celebration then. There'll be an act of rebellion. And they would have to be. Talk about Stonewall, stuff like that from back in 69, 68, somewhere around there. No, that was small. Now we know who we are, and we know exactly what our rights and responsibilities are in this nation. We are Americans. We serve for our nation, and we will be in the middle of the streets, all of us, all across this country, letting our state and federal government know. You talk about, I mean, this is going to impact every minority in this nation, from racial and ethnic minorities. They want to remove any reference that has to do with anything that's different, that's not white, straight, and cisgendered. All the celebrations that we have for Asian Pacific, or the Asian and Pacific Islanders, all the celebrations we have for our Latino friends and family members in this country, all the things that we do to honor that, and all the stuff that we do to honor and respect our Black Americans, our LGBT Americans, our Native Americans. They think of those things as being divisive. Why? Why do they think of that as being divisive? Well, because it doesn't acknowledge, that we want to see the world in a colorblind way. That's what they want. They want to look at the world through these rose-colored glasses where they just, all they see is everything is just rosy, but they see no variations in color. They see no variations in sexual identity or gender identities. They see no variation in all those things and no acknowledgement that there are differences. Because, oh my, I mean, they can get the vapors down here in the South, right? Oh my, there are LGBT people in America. Oh my, what the hell? Jeez. Yeah, it offends their sensibilities so badly that they don't even want to acknowledge that there are Black people in the country. That they don't want to acknowledge that there are Asian and Pacific Islander people in this country. I mean, we don't want to make sure, we want to make sure that none of them are seen or heard because, we just want to be all vanilla across the board. Otherwise, it offends our little Southern sensibilities. And don't dare tell me that what we're seeing isn't an attempt to put in place a fake image of what our history is like Gone with the Wind. Don't believe it? You're blind and dumb. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. So you're looking at Project 2025 now. This is the pin thing at the top. Let's see. I'm not going to watch that again, but let's go on down and just see here. Here's Kevin Roberts. This is also on the page for Project 2025. The next conservative president. Now, this is really fascinating, and I'm just going to tell you why in just a second. Let me tell you why in just a second. All right. Kevin Roberts, president of Heritage Foundation, as well as president of Heritage Action, the sister group. That's the same as Heritage, but the Action side, like we have, our TDVA side, but we also have the TDVA Action side, the Action Group side. So anyway, the next conservative president will enter office on January 20th, 2025 with a simple choice. greatness or failure. And to me, for somebody to say Seb Gorka is right, well, I find that just plain hilarious. I've spoken to Dr. Gorka, Seb Gorka, had him on a strategic thinking podcast or webinar many years ago. It's over a decade ago now, probably about a decade ago, most likely, something like that, right around there anyway. And we were talking about complexity theory and complexity science and the impact, how that could be used to kind of shape outcomes that we wanted, or at least move in the right direction that's kind of emergent and all that kind of stuff. It's, well, that's something that I've been involved in for a while too. But anyway, Seb came on. He was invited there by one of my good friends, also a Naval Academy grad that he and I know. And so Seb came on and was just talking and ranting and raving about how this complexity science stuff was just BS and all this kind of stuff. And I turned to my two co-hosts right after that episode ended, the live episode ended. I turned to them, General Hall and Dr. Rockhour. I turned to them and said, "That guy is full of shit. He's not ever coming back on this show again." And here we are having to talk about him now, almost 10 years later. Jeez. Wiggled his way right in. Okay, right into the halls of power. Jeez. And then we got Dr. Roberts from Texas. So you can go listen to all that if you want, but I'm going to tell you, we must invest in building the bench. And what they mean by that is they are pouring money into these training academies, bringing people in, vetting them, testing them, training them on everything that they need to know on how to run a specific office or agency within the federal government if a conservative takes over in 2025 as president. They're preparing them now for that. And that's what they mean by investing in building that bench. Okay. And Project 2025 is doing just that. That's what Dr. Roberts says. So I've commented on this thing before. Let me see. How should I comment on it this time? Let me go over here and take a look. Anybody commented? All right. So let me go over to this page. We're going to go back here and look at it. Who's watching? How should I comment? Let me see. Well, we can be. So right now, let me just put it like this. Right now, your post is under discussion, is being talked about, is being discussed on our live show, Do you have a moment to come and defend yourselves? Let me see. That'd be one thing to say in there. Let's see. You realize that, let me put it like this. After reviewing let me see, Project 2025, I find that it meets all 14 characteristics, characteristics. Okay. I'm old enough where I can just slow down and type it that way. 14 characteristics of what makes a fascist. I'm just going to post that as a reply. Okay. So they'll get that somewhere along the line. But if they come onto our website, you'll be able to see what we're talking about over there. But anyway, so Seb has a show over on Salem News Channel. Okay. I don't know how often it's done, once a day or something like that. I don't know what time. I don't care. Dr. Roberts went on Seb's show, obviously, and talked about all of this. And this was back October 4th. At least it's posted October 4th. But I'm going to tell you, This says this person, Brandon Dutcher, commenting to Heritage and Project 2025, includes not only policy solutions, but also assembling thousands of properly vetted and trained personnel who will be ready to begin dismantling our unaccountable fourth branch of the government. They're not going to do that right away. I already mentioned that before. That is not the plan. Their plan is to go in and make sure they erase any identification of minorities in the whole of the federal enterprise across every department, agency, whatever. Take those words out completely, anything to do with all of those. That's the first goal. And they had to find them. There's so many of them, obviously, because obviously the previous president, or actually the previous presidents, go in and try to do things and get it buried within there so that it's hard to find. To set a precedent up, that's just the way this thing works, by the way. So that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're planning on doing. They have a plan to make it happen. Hi, Brandon. Don't know if you're watching, but you should be. Let me comment on Brandon's page. Hi, Brandon. You will likely see this. You will likely see this post after the fact. But we are ripping it to pieces. On our live show. Project 2025 is an atrocity. Actually, it is a theocratic fascist document. Fascist, FASCISDOUCOMT document. That's not how you spell document. A document that very deliberately, DELIBERTALEY, deliberately seeks to, let me capitalize this, erase, DELETE, delete, and excise those not like you. All, let me just put it like that, all minorities, minority identifications, minority representation in the whole of the federal enterprise. What's the whole of this? Okay, posting. All right, so that was, your post was sent. Okay, got it there. Y'all see that? Yep. Roger Savino. Oh my gosh. It was more like an infomercial for Project 2025, advertising how influential the conservative coalition we have put together is, Roger. Hi, Roger. Get a grip, son. And then Rob Bluey says, I'm never going to underestimate the Heritage Foundation. It's an august organization whether you like it or not. And then obviously that was something that Ali Velshi said, I think, wherever Ali Velshi's at these days. I don't know, MSNBC or CNN or something. I don't know where he's at these days. I don't watch those news sources. But thanks for your kind words. They say, hey, Rob. Hi, Rob. How you doing, buddy? None of us are taking are looking at the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 as if it is something that very few are signed on to. We already know. We already know where you stand, Roger stands, Seb Gorka stands, Stephen Miller. We know where all of these people stand, including Kevin Rogers. We also know that the presidential candidates on the conservative side have most, maybe all by now, seen this and at least probably acknowledged the foreword that Dr. Roberts wrote, because, we can kind of guess that they have, because shortly after this thing went public, I mean, within a few days after it went public, there was this huge increase in comments from those Republican candidates attacking trans people. And trans people are mentioned in the first couple of paragraphs in the foreword and then throughout. It's just horrendous. As if we aren't American enough to qualify for First Amendment protections. I don't know what planet you're on, but that is definitely some alternate universe you're in. All right. Now let me just switch pages. I'm going to see if you can follow me to this next one. I don't know if you can. I want to stop sharing, then go back and share. I need to get this back up really quickly. Take that one down. Now we're going to go over to Seb Gorka. All right. Let me go back to the StreamYard page. Here we go. Share screen. Seb Gorka. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Seb. Not worth the time, to put it bluntly. Yeah. That's it. A nice old lady once called me Mr. MAGA. Really? Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. And I think I'm going to use what one of my friends describes as MAGA. MAGA is Mouse America Great Again. I thought that's funny. All right, so you're Seb Gorka. Let the FBI, and that's not how you spell no, Dr. Gorka. Let the FBI now what you think is actually know what you think of their illegal spying and election interference. Get the new Fascist Bureau of Intimidation shirts. And that's from December of 2022. You're full of shit, yeah. Seb. All right. Okay, so this was posted 1 hour ago, Dr. Gorka. Hi. So I never trusted Mark Short in the White House. Now he's revealed himself to be the libelist scumbag he really is. Well, okay. Wow. Seb, I wish I'd gotten a hold of you when I called into the White House shortly after Trump took over. I called in, reached the Situation Room. Yes, I did. And asked the young man who answered the phone. He said, Situation Room. And I said, hey, let me speak to Seb Gorka, please. Tell him it's his friend from way down in Alabama. Well, after about 5 minutes of just waiting and waiting, they finally came back and just hung the phone up. I kept looking out the window for Blackhawks to come sweeping in over my home. They wouldn't let me talk to you back then, even though, we've had a conversation or two before. So anyway, no, that's Seb, I don't know really what this is all about. I know your history. I know that, of your parents' history and your father's history. I know all those things. I know you understand fascism quite well. And I just, for the love of God, I cannot figure out why you don't see that that's what this is doing now. Project 2025 is doing exactly that same thing that you say that you're so violently opposed to, that you know so well. But I'm going to tell you, if you know it that well, it looks to me like maybe you're trying to shift it in that direction. Again. Wow. Oh, okay. I'm not going to promote you anymore there, Dr. G. Let me drop that one out. I don't know if you can see this one, but let me go over here and share this. I know some other people are watching. Thank you. Let me share screen again. We're going to go to Kevin Roberts' Twitter feed. Here we go, everyone. Hang on. I want these people to know that we are watching them. We are talking about the ignorance that's so prevalent in everything that they're saying, going after all minorities and removing them from the whole of the federal government. Oh, my God. Kevin Roberts, president, Heritage Foundation and Heritage Action, PhD in American History. And I will just say this, that PhD is in early American history. I don't know if that is colonial period or revolutionary period, but it says, but it says, American history, and I think it's early American history. My goodness. Teacher, professor, headmaster, and college president. Definitely a very impressive resume, Dr. Roberts. What the hell happened? You fell into a ditch here somewhere, or maybe it was just, I don't know, kind of fit who you really are, apparently. I've got people who know you, Dr. Roberts, who knows Dr. Roberts well, who say that you're a really good person. I have no doubt that you are or are not a really good person. I have no doubt that you're a good American. In your heart, you know that. And yeah, that's fine. But here's the thing, Dr. Roberts, so are we. So are those who don't look like you, think like you, believe like you. So are those who have who are not white, who are not cisgendered, and who are not straight. We're Americans too. But yet in that foreword that you wrote, that Dr. Roberts wrote, you lump all of us into this thing that you want to erase from the whole of government, delete from the whole of government, and then excise from the whole of government, in the same breath calling us not real or unreal people, suggesting that we are, and then using terms like natural families or natural people versus unnatural. That's just plain idiotic, Dr. Roberts. Really is. So I'll tell you that you and I need to talk sometime, because I think we have a different view of what a person really is. And here's how I can tell that too, because you actually go on later down in and you lump me into this thing called transgender ideology, and all of my veteran friends into this thing called transgender ideology. What the hell is a transgender ideology? Do I look like an ideology? No, I am not an ideology. We are not an ideology. Being black is not an ideology. Being white is not an ideology. It simply is who you are. Being an American, most of us didn't have a choice in that. We were born here, but some, like Seb Gorka, were naturalized. I think he was naturalized in 2008. So, we need to have a conversation about what it means for personhood, because then whenever you lump us into this ideology group and you throw it all in there with a bunch of other things that are completely not related, like sexual exploitation of children or pornography or stuff like that, you lump all of this all together. And that is not true, period. Ever, in any case, no matter when, no matter how long you say it, no matter how often you repeat it, it is still not true to associate those things together any more so than it is to associate white preachers with pedophilia. Even though, there's a lot of that out there. It's just baffling to me. And so here you are, Dr. Roberts, you say that we're not protected, that this ideology, this person's looking here right now in the eyes, in the camera, in your face, if you're watching, I hope you are. You're looking at me and you're going, that person's just an ideology. They aren't protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution. Really? Well, I serve so that you can think that bullshit all you want. But that's exactly what it is. BS. What you said in that one line, it just resonates. I mean, it just kind of hits me and really just gets deep down into my soul as an American citizen, as a veteran. It just gets me, I can't believe you wrote that. I cannot believe you wrote that. You know what that does? That says to me that my personhood is less than the personhood of a corporation, who have been adjudicated and pontificated upon the personhood of corporations. I mean, their rights are protected more than mine. Apparently, that's what you want. You want to protect the rights of a corporation over the minorities in the United States of America. You want to grant to the corporations that level of personhood, but yet to those who aren't white, cisgendered, and straight, then they aren't even person enough to match up with a corporation. That's what that says. My God, I can't believe you wrote that. That's the height of stupidity. And here's the thing, I'm going to use these last few minutes. Well, I'm going to go down through here. Let me just scroll through. Okay, so you can see who Dr. Roberts is. I follow him. I'm assuming Dr. Roberts is a he, right? It's your choice. I mean, you can pick whichever one you want. I mean, I just use he. I could use they, but whichever one. That's up to you. And then Dr. Roberts reposted Heritage Action, of which the president of. The next Speaker of the House must unite conservatives to secure the border, cut the size and scope of federal government, and conduct oversight of federal government. And I'm not even going to listen to that dummy right there either. I don't know who he is, actually. All right. And then, obviously, the Heritage Foundation, meaning Dr. Roberts, reposted this, replying to Elon Musk. More than reform, it is no longer a law enforcement agency. It's a political weapon that needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. You're talking about the FBI. And if you'll check through that list of things, the list of characteristics of fascism, what you're doing now and what's happening at Heritage and what's going on with Project 2025 matches every point, every one of them, point by point, all the way through all 14 of them. Those 14 that were created or identified by Lawrence Britt in the spring of 2003. You have headed right straight into this. I mean, blindly. Seb should know better, but yet he's in it too. You should know better, but you're in it. It only makes me think that since you're so smart, both of you, all of you on this side who've been doing so much, you're so smart that maybe it wasn't an accident that you are doing that. Maybe it's not accidental at all. Maybe, like Matt Walsh says over on his little disclaimer on his Twitter feed, you know what it says? Theocratic fascist. Matt Walsh identifies as a theocratic fascist. You might as well go ahead and stick the label on yours too, on the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 and Kevin Roberts and Seb Gorka. You might as well go ahead and put on there who you really are. Just tell the world and show them. I mean, don't let us have to fumble through all your thinking and all this kind of stuff when all you really want to say is, we're theocratic fascists. We're going to do this, and we don't care who you are, whether you're an American or not. That's the most divisive and destructive statement any American can make about other Americans. And those things are all ideologies, by the way. Isms like conservatism, liberalism, republicanism. Jeez, come on. Every day I've been talking about this now for 3 weeks. Every day. And I'm going to start responding to all of these things over here on Twitter, and I'm poking at all of them. And anyone who's watching, go over on Twitter and find these pages and start commenting, letting them know what you really think, because they need to know that America will not stand for theocratic fascism running our nation and sweeping through the federal government to make it look lily white and straight and cisgendered. Okay, got a few minutes left for the day. That really gets me pissed. You probably can tell. It just angers me greatly And the part that is so bothersome is that you've set aside $22 million to make sure that everything that takes place, that all the planning and all the strategy you've accomplished through Project 2025 and the consensus document that was built by those 70 organizations and hundreds of people, $22 million is going to make sure that they get the people they want ready to go and take over the whole of government, erase anything that doesn't look like them, and then shrink all those agencies down. Throwing out people who have count on a living with that. And you talk about unemployment. If you go out there and do what Vivek, I guess is how you pronounce his name, wants to do, reduce the federal government by 75%, 1.5 million federal employees. You know what that would do? That would be a huge, huge unemployment dip, wouldn't it? Talk about driving the economy into the ground. And those people don't live just in D.C. They live all across the country, in every community just about across this nation. They're Americans with families. Some of them may believe like you do. Some of them may believe like I do. I don't care. They're Americans. They have families. And we've got to start standing up for that. And any organization out there that's watching me right now or hears this show or watches it later or whatever, if you don't think this threat is real, then I don't know what to do to convince you, because $22 million looks pretty real to me. And the threat is powerful. And then you got it backed up with another $265 million just in heritage. I don't know how much ADF's got, the Alliance Defending Freedom. I don't know how much America First Legal has got over there with Stephen Miller. I don't know how much those organizations have. I do know this. The people between all those organizations, they all kind of just, the door's open between all of them. I mean, Heritage provides people over to ADF, ADF back over to Heritage. I mean, it's just an open swinging door. All the people think the same way. But then that's what you want, right? Anyone else watching this thing? Do you know what it would take to fight that? Do you know how many, let's just take the LGBT population in the country. You know how many LGBT people are estimated to be in the U.S.? About 23 million. About 23 million. How many of those people have families that support them? How many of those 23 million have allies that support them and providers that support them? So let's look at 50 million. If a small fraction of that 50 million people would contribute maybe 50 cents or $1 a month on a recurring basis to help us fight this garbage, then we would stand a better chance of it, because it takes money to be able to reach out there and have an impact and create a sustainable project, much like this document that they've created in Project 2025. I mean, we've got to make sure we're doing that. We've got to make sure we're moving in that direction, and plan and strategize and start acting as one instead of a bunch of disconnected knife in the back activities all over the place in different places. We've got to bring ourselves together. We've got to fight this in unison. We've got to stand with our allies who actually support us and aren't going to stab us in the back for it. We've got to stand with all of these people and fight. If you want to help, contribute $1 a month. You can go over to our website. Let me stop sharing because I'm getting riled up here. Wow. So anyway, let me put the website up there. Go there, check it out. And I got to find it again. Hold on a minute. There, right there. That's the website. Go there and give $1 a month. Now, you got $1 in your bottom of your purse, right? Or in the door pocket, in the pocket of the door of your car, or in the console in the middle, or in the seats and the cushions in your couch. I mean, there's $1 hanging around there. Probably shows up at least once a month in those places. And all you have to do is go to the website, go on our donation page, and just contribute and help. We can't do it alone. We need you. And we've got to stand up for all Americans in this. That's all there is to it. This attack is against Americans. They're Americans too. I get that. I don't want to ever deny that. They are Americans entitled to believe what they want, but so are we. And if we don't oppose the things they're doing, then we will be erased. And with that, I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the 3 days. If you're here in the U.S., wherever you might be, enjoy the holiday time with your friends and families, and just get out, take a moment for yourselves, recharge, regroup, and then let's start this fight over again, because we cannot back down. Have a great day.